All right, this book is called Picnic of Piggins, and it is by Jane Yolen. It was illustrated by Jane Dyer. Trot, trot. That is the sound of Piggins, the butler, at 47 The Meadows, going up the stairs. Upstairs, Mrs. Reynard helps Nanny Bess dress the children. "Now that you are over the fox pox," said Mrs. Reynard to her two oldest kids, "you can play outside again. All too soon it will be time to go back to school. I've planned a special picnic. Piggins will go too. Now listen carefully." Rexy and Trixie clapped their paws. They love doing things with Piggins. They know he's more than a butler. He was a hero in the Boer War. He has solved mysteries, and with a bit of persuading, he can be made to sing. Below stairs, Cook packs the picnic hamper. She puts in cheese and carrots, meats and pies, lettuce and celery sticks, and a great big surprise. She will not mention the surprise to Piggins. Sarah, the scullery maid, scrubs all the pots and pans. She looks as if she could use a scrubbing herself. Jane polishes the silver. In the hall, Piggins sets out the children's walking sticks and hats. Even though it's summer, he knows it's best to be prepared. Auga! Auga! Down the street comes the motor cart of the world-famous explorer Pierre Lapine and his three unmarried sisters. They will be driving Piggins and the Reynard kids to the picnic. They know all about the plans for the day, and they will be in charge. "I just love picnics," says the eldest, Miss Lapine. "All those carrot sticks," says one of her younger sisters. "All that lettuce," says the others. Pierre tips his hat at a passing carriage. "Picnics with Piggins," he shouts. "They're always full of interesting surprises." Rexy and Trixie tumble down the stairs and into the motor car. They wave goodbye to their mother. Rexy squeezes in between two of the Lapine sisters. Trixie sits up front with Pierre and blows the horn. Auga! Auga! Piggins climbs into the front seat with the picnic hamper. Then off they go down the country lane. The day is warm and sunny. Speedwell and wild rose bloom by the roadside. The woods are full of bird songs and the tally-hoes of the local fox hunt. There is a graceful willow by the meandering river where they always picnic. As Piggins spreads a blanket and begins to unpack the hamper, the Misses Lapine dangle their feet in the water. Trixie throws rose petals into the river. The petals quickly float away. Rexy listens to Pierre Lapine tell a story of adventure on the high seas. There are pirates in the story, and a princess as pink as a rose petal. Pierre rescues the princess. "Is the story true?" asks Rexy. "All my stories are true," says Pierre Lapine. "Except for the ones that are not," calls out his eldest sister. They all laugh, even Pierre. After playing a vigorous game of shuttlecock, they eat everything in Cook's hamper. Everything, that is, except the surprise, for there is a note saying they must save it until just before they go home. Then they settle in for a quiet spot of fishing. But the game and the food have made everybody sleepy. "Do not worry about Trixie and Rexy, Piggins," says Pierre Lapine. "I will take the first watch. I stayed up many sleepless nights when I was on the high seas." Piggins nods gratefully and closes his eyes. Crash! Splash! They all wake up with a start. Trixie spots Rexy's hat in the middle of the river. Pierre Lapine discovers that Rexy's fishing pole is in two pieces. The Misses Lapine run up and down the river looking for some sign of young Master Reynard. But except for a few popping bubbles way downstream and the nearby tally-hoes of the fox hunt, there is no sound, no cries for help, no frantic gurgles. Even the birds have stopped singing. "Oh, my!" cries the eldest Miss Lapine. "Oh, my!" cry her younger sisters. "Oh, me, oh, my!" cries Pierre Lapine. His ears twist together and he wrings his paws. Trixie says, "If Rexy's gone missing, can I have his piece of Cook's surprise?" Piggins says nothing, but his face is very stern, and he looks around and listens with great care. "Do you think Rexy has been kidnapped?" asked the eldest Miss Lapine. "He must have been," says Trixie. "That is his favorite hat. Rexy would never let anything happen to it." She points dramatically to the hat in the river. "Clue number 1, says Pierre Lapine. Piggins says nothing. "Do you think he may be hurt?" asked one of the younger Mrs. Lapine. Trixie holds up the 2 pieces of the fishing pole. "He must have put up an awful struggle," she says. "Poor Rexy." "Clue number 2, says Pierre Lapine. Piggins says nothing. "Look, I have found his walking stick," cries the other Mrs. Lapine. "Up here, by the river bank." "Do not touch it," Pierre warns. "There may be paw prints. Or perhaps Rex has left it behind to point the way." "Brave, brave Rexy," says the eldest Miss Lapine. "I definitely think brave Rexy would want me to have his slice of the surprise," says Trixie. "Don't you?" "Clue number 3, says Pierre Lapine. Piggins says nothing. "Is there a ransom note?" asked Pierre Lapine. "Of course, a ransom note," cry the 3 Misses Lapine as they hold on to one another and weep loudly. "There is always a ransom note." "I will look in the picnic hamper," says Trixie, "next to Cook's surprise. Perhaps there is a ransom note there." She looks, and indeed there is a note. Pierre reads it aloud. "If you want to see Rexy again, Piggins must walk down the road alone, and he must sing a song so we know he is on the way." "How odd," says the eldest Miss Lapine. "The kidnappers must know that Piggins can be trusted." "And they must know that he can sing," adds Trixie. She smiles at Pierre Lapine. "Odd indeed," says Piggins. "Quite a puzzle," agrees Pierre Lapine. "Not a puzzle at all," says Piggins, "but a hoax." "A hoax!" the others all cry. "Why, merciful heavens, whatever do you mean?" "What about the clues?" asked Pierre Lapine. Piggins smiles. "Clue number 1. Notice that Rexy's favorite hat has not moved 1 inch down the river. It is not caught on anything we can see, but something is holding it." "Oh," says Pierre Lapine. His cheeks are pink. "Clue number 2, says Piggins. "The broken rod is not broken at all, but only neatly unhinged." "Unhinged!" cry the 3 Lapine sisters. They twist their kerchiefs and look nearly unhinged themselves. "Clue number 3, says Piggins. "The walking stick. Since I'm not supposed to touch it, I want to touch it very much indeed." He picks up the stick, and there is a piece of fishing line attached to it. When he pulls the string, he reels in Rexy's hat. "What about the ransom note?" asks Trixie. Piggins smiles again. "I believe I know the song you want me to sing, my dear hoaxers." He turns and walks down the road, singing it at the top of his lungs. "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Piggins." Everyone joins in. Suddenly the woods are filled with the members of the local hunt. "Surprise!" they shout as they leap up and scream. Rexy jumps from his horse, yelling the loudest of all. Trixie carries Cook's birthday cake surprise to Piggins, who cuts it and gives everyone a slice. "We thought a birthday mystery would be the best present of all," says Mrs. Reynard. "Only we never expected you to solve it so quickly. You almost spoiled the surprise. Naughty Piggins." After they eat the cake, they all head for home. Upstairs, Trixie and Rexy get ready for bed. Trixie takes a handkerchief out of her pocket. In it is an extra piece of the birthday cake. She shares it with her little sisters, who still have the fox. In the living room, Mr. and Mrs. Reynard sit by the fire drinking tea. "Such a lovely day," says Mrs. Reynard. "But next year we must try harder to surprise him," she laughs. "Perhaps you could invent a surprise machine." "Perhaps I shall, my dear," says Mr. Reynard. Below stairs, Sarah has cleaned up the picnic basket. She could do with a good cleaning herself. Cook snoozes in her chair. Jane has put the kettle on the stove for one last cup of tea. In the hall, Higgins locks the front door of 47 The Meadows. He hears the kettle whistling. It has been quite the happiest birthday Higgins can remember. He is tired but smiling. With Rexy's hat in hand, he goes down the stairs. He will have to get it cleaned for the next day. Trit, trot, trit, trot, trit, trot. The end.